Hello everyone, and here the little Frenchie who's not in big Texas, in little Paris today, and I thought I would take you on a walk to the Eiffel Tower to give you an update on the riots, because it's been a week here. So what's actually going on now, a few facts and what really happened. And so here, as you can see, it's a very quiet residential area. A lot of construction happening everywhere in Paris, like every summer, so it's a bit noisy and I will not be able to edit this video. But look here, I'm very close. So gonna walk you there. So as I said, very residential, very safe, and there's nothing happening here and nothing happened here. And that's pretty much true everywhere in Paris, except for one store that got destroyed, just the front of the store in one of the big streets central of Paris. But aside from that, nothing really happened inside Paris. What happened was very localized in certain, usually poorer suburbs or secondary cities where there's been quite a bit of destruction. But right now everything is back, I would say, to normal. And when I say back to normal, we're talking recovery here, rebuilding, because there's been easy a few hundreds stores completely ravaged, destroyed, merchandise stolen, quite a few buildings as well. And here it's government types of buildings. So it can be the local school, local town hall. They went up to going with a truck into the private residence of a mayor in a smaller city at night when the wife and kids were sleeping upstairs. Nothing happened to them, but it just went way too far. So we're really talking about rebuilding and what to do with all these people who got arrested. So all the ones above 18 are getting put on trial. But the issue is that you had a pretty large percentage, about 1/3, that was below 18, and some of them as young as 13, that were being sent by their older brothers to just go ahead, destroy and steal. So what do we do with this? So at the end, the whole discussion here is putting the fault on the parents who are not watching the kids, who should just put them in bed at 9 o'clock. But the fact is that it's not happening, so what do we do? So that's really what you read here, what people are talking about. Who did it? How can we make sure this doesn't happen again? And what's the deepest problem in France? Because most, let's be honest, are migrants. I mean, not first generation, but they all have origins mostly from North Africa. And they are not necessarily well integrated. And how do we do? How did we get there, and how do we solve it? So that's really what's being talked here. And talking about facts as well, because I read some things in the press, international press. I think they really amplified everything that happened, to be honest, because it did happen, but it was not as bad and the whole country was not in flames. It was very selected areas. So did we have curfews? Yes, we did. But again, in certain areas, only Paris was never under curfew, for instance. So it really depends. And right now you only have very few selected suburbs, just a handful outside of Paris, who are still under curfew until Monday. That is it. So another thing I read is that they were going to shut down the internet. Did it happen? Well, you see one of the elevators here going down the Eiffel Tower. Can you see it? Going from the second to the first floor. So did it happen? No, it did not. We did not lose internet. That would just cut the country. What they looked at is that most of these movements were amplified, communicated through social media, and two platforms in particular, which is TikTok and Snapchat. So what they tried is go up to the origin of who created this movement and who was behind it. Get the names, probably go after these people, so probably shut down their accounts as well. Something kind of familiar, right? So shutting down social media accounts. It happened in the US on the presidential campaign not that long ago. So that's pretty much what they wanted to do. I don't know if it has happened, if they're still investigating. I do not know. But that's one of the things I read. So no shutdown of the internet. I also read that public transportation was being shut down. That's also not true. It was never fully shut down. What they did is certain subway lines or tramway or buses that was going into these rioting places, in particular around Paris, in these bad areas, they were just cutting the lines a few stations before the final stop or before getting into that area. So it was just a partial cut on the line and asking people to get off 2 stations before, and if it was underground, just going through without stopping. That's what happened. What else did I read? Because as you can see, it was very much amplified. The very beginning, there was a hint of truth, if they were looking for social media, there was just a very few subway stations cut, but it got completely amplified to the extreme. And something interesting that I found interesting is as soon as the incident happened with that young boy, they started 2 GoFundMe. The first one was for the young boy. That was probably started with the family, how to support the family. The second one was for the policemen, and that one was started by apparently the extreme right. And I looked at it just before leaving France, so it had been a week after the event, and you cannot guess how much they collected. It was actually shocking. I was not expecting that. The young boy, the parents collected about, at the time, 200,000 euros. Guess how much the policeman collected? At the time, he was at 1.2 million euros. Yes, 6 times more than the family of the young boy. Interesting, right? They stopped updating the numbers, I think, in the medias once it passed the million for the policeman. But he got a lot of supports, probably also from people with more money than the ones supporting the young boy from the suburbs. But I thought that was an interesting anecdote. Very interesting anecdote. But as you can see, the Eiffel Tower is still there. Still a lot of constructions everywhere, including below. I'm trying not to show you, but all these here, I'm not too sure what they're doing. It has not opened yet. Before 9 o'clock, they're probably running the first elevators for maybe the very first tourists, but it's the opening. You don't have many people. All you can see, and I'm not sure, I would have to get closer, but you see quite a few guys walking over there, and from where I am, I can already tell you they're wearing automated rifles. So what I can see is there's quite a lot of police presence here. It's not the police, given the color they're wearing, khakis. It's probably the militaries. I've probably noticed more than usual, but what is usual anymore? I mean, we had terrorist attacks 10 years ago, and since then there's been reinforced police everywhere in Paris, in particular in the touristic area, and this is probably right now the most touristic area in the city. So I just saw a few army armed over there, but nothing shocking for the Eiffel Tower. Very heavy police presence around the Élysée, which is our equivalent of the White House, the residence of the president. Pretty heavy. They were, I don't know, probably over 100 policemen, heavily armed, all around the place. But once again, a week after what happened, that's what you would expect. And I actually went to talk to them and asked them, is it anything more than the usual because of what happened? And they actually said no. We always guard the Élysée with a very heavy presence, just to be ready. So this is what it is. Just wanted to share with you this beautiful morning by the Eiffel Tower. I'm gonna try to back off a bit to give you a better view here, because I'm pretty close. which means you don't see it entirely, but with all the trees, I'm not sure you will. It's it's a beautiful area, but so this is a grassy area where people normally can sit, but I don't know what they're doing. As you can see, they put fences. It's closed. This grass here is completely it's not for security here. They're probably planting new grass. It was extremely dry last year, if you remember, in France, so that might be why. And I think here is very green, so you can see the difference in color. So they might have started with this one, which they need to cut. Not too sure what they're doing, but it's going on everywhere in Paris. Every summer when it's hot and dusty, they create more dust and a lot of work. So what you do have on top over there, I don't know if you see, you have a drone flying pretty high. So I don't know if it's somebody playing or if it's a surveillance drone. It's right there, almost on the 3rd floor, the last one of the Eiffel Tower. I don't know. It's probably somebody playing here because it's going down. It was pretty high up. But anyway, guys, just wanted to share these beautiful views, some fresh, updated news from what I see. I will head out of Paris for this weekend, so I will let you know if I see anything out there. But so far, so good. Paris is Paris. Oh, you've got the elevator again, going down from the 3rd to the 2nd floor. Doesn't it make you want to come over and visit Paris? Well, guys, you should. It is something. I'm from there, probably not neutral, but it is the most beautiful city in the world. It is. And this is not my favorite monument. It's the most popular, I know, which is why I took you there, in addition to staying not too far away. But it's not my favorite. I'm waiting for Notre Dame to reopen, hopefully next year. That's something else. All right, I hope you will enjoy the video. If you did, as always, please give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel. Subscribe as well if you haven't done so. More to come. I still have a little week here, a few more days, so I'll try to keep you up to date, send you some pictures. And yes, as I said initially, please apologize, non-edited video. I came over here with not any editing software, so it's gonna be raw as I see it. Have a great day, everyone.